I'm Professor S.K. Sinha from PGI Chandigarh. I work in the Department of Gastroenterology, and as some of you might be aware that 19th May is celebrated world over as Inflammatory Bowel Disease Day. When we talk of inflammatory bowel disease, then we are talking of two conditions, that is ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. In both these conditions are known to affect our intestines. Ulcerative colitis affects dominantly our large intestine, and it leads to ulcerations in the large intestine. In other condition, that is Crohn's disease, both small intestine and large intestine are affected, and there can be ulcerations, strictures and abscess formation in and around both a small bowel and large bowel. So, it can happen in any age group, it can happen in the children, it can happen in the adults, and sometimes it can start even in the elderly people. As far as the cause of the IBD goes, the cause is not very clear, but one thing is very sure, that this is not related to infection. This is important to understand for the general population, that this is not a contagious disease. So, somebody who is suffering from IBD, if you interact with the person, you eat with them, play with them, mingle with them, then it is not risky for you. So, mainly most people believe that this is some sort of autoimmune disease, when our body system makes some mistake by virtue of disturbance in our inflammatory pathway in recognition of the different antigens. Normally what happens, that our body recognizes self antigen as a self and does not destroy them, whereas if anything goes from outside, then it tend to destroy those antigens. So, what happens in this situation, that our self antigens are not so well recognized, and that is why this disease happens. There are many factors related with inflammatory bowel disease. Sometimes the risk in the family members, first degree relatives, may be slightly higher if the index patient is suffering from inflammatory bowel disease. However, as I explained you earlier, that this condition is not contagious and does not spread from one person to another person. Generally, everybody wants to know when one should suspect that he or she is suffering from inflammatory bowel disease. The most common symptom of both ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease remains chronic diarrhea. And when we talk of chronic diarrhea, we mean that diarrhea which is persisting for more than 4 weeks, that is called chronic diarrhea. This is in contrast to acute diarrhea, which tends to be self-limiting, lasts for a few days and tends to subside spontaneously or sometimes with the antibiotic usage. However, the chronic diarrhea tend to persist beyond 4 weeks, and then we should suspect IBD. Most patients of IBD will have chronic diarrhea, and in addition their stool will contain some amount of blood. So, for general population, for everybody, it is important to understand, if somebody is having bloody diarrhea of more than 4 weeks duration, then it is time to consider inflammatory bowel disease, either ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, and one should consult his or her doctor. And as you understand that this is era of a specialty, so one has to go to gastroenterologist to get the investigator for these symptoms. And diagnosis is relatively straightforward. Most people will be subjected to an examination which is called colonoscopy. In colonoscopy examination, one small flexible tube fitted with a video camera is passed per rectally, and that examines whole of the large intestine, and maybe part of the small intestine is also examined. And if it shows any changes, either ulceration, hyperemia, friability, or any changes, then biopsies can be taken either for histopathological examination or for microbiological examination. Generally, biopsy and colonoscopy, these two investigations are good enough to make the diagnosis of ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. Sometimes it is supplemented by the radiological investigation like MRI and CT scan. So, it is very important for everybody to understand that whenever chronic diarrhea occurs to anybody, be to you, your friends, your acquaintance, your relatives, refer all those patients, all those subjects to gastroenterologists for proper investigation. So, when it is very important to make the proper diagnosis, because very good treatment options are available now, and in contrast to previous therapy, the newer therapies are much more effective, efficacious, and are known to control the disease in a better manner, and even can change the course of the disease. So, previously available treatment used to control the symptoms, but they were not known to change the course of the disease, whereas current therapies which have become available over last few years, they are known to modify the course of the disease. Most of these patients are treated by medical treatment only, and very small percentage, my perception will be only 5 to 10% of the patients will require surgical treatment. Surgical treatment is required in certain situations. One group, a small group, is patients who do not respond well to medical therapy, they can be subjected. The other group who do not respond to medical therapy or during course of medical therapy, they tend to develop complications like leakage from the intestine or severe hemorrhage. Then for emergency indications, they undergo surgery. Sometimes what happens that large intestine gets dilated because of severe activity of the disease. That situation is called toxic megacolon, that also requires surgery. But overall only 5 to 10% of the patients of inflammatory bowel disease will require surgery. Rest all of them will be treated medically, and almost all of them will respond well. However, it is important to understand that disease requires long term therapy. Therapy once started one has to continue for several years. The dose will vary according to stage of the disease, activity of the disease. This disease has got tendency for a spontaneous remission and relapses. So, with therapy what happens that relapses will decrease, will subside in some of the patients, but if you are receiving treatment and you have occasional relapses, one should not be too worried or think that treatment is not effective. Once in a while the disease will get flare up, and which require intensification of therapy, but it is very important to continue the therapy and maintain the therapy and continue the maintenance therapy. This is very important because this helps in preventing various complications, which include occurrence of anemia, occurrence of toxic megacolon, which I talked a short while ago, then long term complication, and even occurrence of malignancy, which in uncontrolled disease is known to occur after several years of activity. So, all those risk decreases, then we have complications coming up in the liver if the disease remains active. So, all those things will decrease. Most people want to know that can the disease be controlled with diet alone. Diet restrictions help in control of symptoms, but as far as the remission is concerned, that diet does not play a major role, but you need to restrict certain substance intake, and that is very important to understand. In addition to diet, one has to avoid certain category of drug, that is equally important. Normal population people keep on taking what we say analgesic or anti-inflammatory drugs, but in anti-inflammatory drugs other than paracetamol can be taken, but other than paracetamol can cause flare up of the ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. So, whenever we treat these patients, most of the time we explain those patients that they should avoid taking over the counter painkiller medication, except for the when it is under medical prescription. One important questions people ask, particularly young ladies who are in the fertile age group, that whether they can have babies. Fertility largely in this condition will remain unaffected. So, the fertility will be nearly normal, but it is very important that if somebody knows that he or she is suffering from ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, pregnancy should be planned rather than should be coming spontaneously at any point of time. So, it is always preferable if before pregnancy the disease is controlled well with the treatment and the lady becomes pregnant when the disease is controlled. But despite all these measures, we do come across patients who become pregnant even with the active disease. The pregnancy makes the chances of relapse slightly higher than normal. However, the important point is that treatment has to be continued through the pregnancy, and most of the drugs which we use here are relatively safe in pregnancy. The risk of discontinuing treatment is much more compared to continuing the treatment through the pregnancy. So, by and large, what happens that when the lady becomes pregnant, she needs to be seen by gynecologist. In addition, she needs to be seen by gastroenterologist at regular interval. Her treatment needs to modify regularly. The risk of active disease is higher compared to the risk of continuing treatment. So, it makes a sense that treatment should be continued, and most of the drugs will be continued as such as was continued prior to becoming pregnant. Next question, many people ask that do I need to take treatment forever, lifelong? Certain conditions, as you know, that diabetes, hypertension, once the medication is started, it has to be continued for virtually lifelong. I will not say this is going to happen in IBD, but most of the patients of inflammatory bowel disease, either ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, they are going to require treatment for several years, and if disease remains controlled for more than 2 years, then treatment discontinuation can be considered, but this will should happen strictly under supervision of qualified gastroenterologist. So, treatment is long, but it may not be lifelong. Then become that what happens to our kids or children? Can I have kids? Will they have risk? Okay, as I mentioned already, that fertility is nearly normal in females, and most of the males also will have normal fertility. So, they can have kids like normal population. However, because this is has a genetic predisposition, so vulnerability for this disease maybe has some bearing dependent to some extent on the genes. So, the risk may be slightly higher than normal population for those who have their family members affected by inflammatory bowel disease. However, by and large, the pregnancy is not contraindicated. It is not advisable that because of suffering from IBD, somebody should avoid pregnancy or should not have kids. So, even without bothering for that. As of now, prenatal diagnosis is not available. So, one can plan the plan for the babies like a normal population. Thank you all for listening, and I will request you again to motivate your friends, family, acquaintance, everybody. If anybody is having bloody diarrhea of more than 4 weeks duration, he or she should contact gastroenterologist at the earliest. It can be IBD.